Yo, what's up, guys? I got some shit on my mind. All right. So there's all this talk about like cryptocurrency and just, you know, banking in general and blah, 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 and what runs money and yada, yada, right? Well, we all know that the US dollar, the Canadian dollar, pretty much everything runs on oil. It used to be gold, got switched over to oil, right? We're all aware of that now. So when Russia and America were doing trades with one another, okay? They have a supply, we have a supply. We get it our way, they get it their way, and we trade back and forth. So that the reserve of oil around the world between the two big powers like Russia and America are kind of, they're sharing their reserve and backing their money off of it so that they can trade goods around the world, right? That's how your money has value. There's a certain amount held in the reserve of this oil, whatever it is that you're backing your money with. And that is used to say, okay, because there's this much oil, your dollar is worth this amount of oil, blah, blah, blah. It's almost like a equal trade. And because of a lot of the things in society are made from oils, like plastics and even a lot of foods and the shit you run your car on, like gas powered, like we have oil power heating in our house. So there's another use for your fuel, and why it's considered to be like an equal trade for money, because it's something that you literally need in your daily life. So that's why we chose it, okay? There's that, and there's a lot of it in the world. Now, okay, that being said about Russia and America, that's back then when everything was golden and they were trading amongst each other and each other's partners, and that's what made it so that the US dollar was so powerful. Even the Russian ruble was pretty stable at that time because they backed theirs off of it as well. But they also, every country would be using the US dollar to make worldwide trades. It was the dollar that every country craved, right? So that was then. This is now. Now, let's just pretend for a second, hypothetically, it's a very similar situation to what we're going through. Let's pretend, Russia had 50% of the reserve to them, and we had the other 50% to us, right? All right. All the money that already exists in the world, all right, or, on our side of the world, is backed now by half of the amount of oil that it used to be, which means there is more money in the actual system, in our ecosystem, that we are seeing on a day-to-day basis. It is now worth 50% what it used to be, because we have 50% less oil in the reserve, sort of deal. Whatever the actual number is, I don't know. I'm just kind of speaking hypothetically here. Either way, the situation is absolutely true. It is actually what we're going through right now. The numbers just might be off. That's fine. We can live with that. We can figure out the numbers later. The point is that basically half of our reserve of oil that we used to trade with and back our money with is gone. We don't have access to it anymore. It's all for Russia, right? Same thing for them, though. On the other side of the fence, we now have the other half of the reserve that would help back their economy, right? So, if you had $1 million, whatever, just random number, insert here, and that was being backed by that 100% before, okay? And now there's only 50% of it, that $1 million is now worth half the amount, because there is twice the amount of actual dollar per oil ratio. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why everything around you is going up. It's because the reserve that we use to back our money isn't there. We don't have it all anymore. We don't have the equal trade opportunity anymore. Russia is now taking over on the east side trades. They have it all for themselves. Who do we have? We have just Canada, America, and Mexico, basically right in our little segment. That's it. That's why everything around you is going up in price right now. And that's why everyone's talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Whether or not they crash or not, they're still an asset that can appreciate in value. And if you take in consideration this proof of stake, where if you have a stake and you let it sit there, it gains you a certain percent per year. It's there. The reason it exists like that is to fight off inflation. And because these coins, like we have reserve of oil, there will only ever be a certain amount of these coins to ever exist. So which is what gives it some sort of rarity. And because it runs on a complex algorithm that is hard to break, hard to hack, like so far as we know, impossible until it's done. It's even supposed to be like quantum computer, proof. That's what they tout. We don't know, but that's what they tout. And if that's true, then we have a very strong thing that we can base our worth on our assets around. We would have a strong network that is better than before, and we ourselves are the nodes. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up is because I just started thinking of some things. There's lots of talks about fiat cash and how it's centralized. I don't know about that. Hear me out. Okay, we have these centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges, right? Okay, so basically what you're telling me is nobody runs the decentralized one. There's no boss. There's no head honcho to the company. Cool. So it's run by the community. Okay, sure. And then you have the centralized ones where, Crypto.com, Coinbase, FTX, yada, yada. Binance. They all have like some sort of head honcho. As far as I'm concerned, that seems to be the biggest difference. That doesn't really speak for decentralization, though. Now, I get it. I'm a crypto guy. I love it. It's the nodes on the network. It's the network itself that is decentralized, right? I get that. But take a look at fiat cash again real quick, especially if you're in Canada. Okay, I don't know. I'm sure that the U.S. banking is, if not the exact same, it's very, very similar. I can almost attest to that. I don't know. I'm not from there. I'm from Canada, where we have multiple different banks, right? You can call them centralized banks, whatever. We don't have a decentralized bank, I guess, in that sort of aspect where there's not a bank where there isn't a boss. Every bank has a boss here. And here's the thing. When we're talking about the money itself, the money is still Canadian dollar, US dollar, whatever, can be transferred from bank to bank. It's complicated, it's slow, and nobody likes to deal with it, right? But it can be done. So that being said, what exactly is the difference between the banks and the exchanges? Because there's different exchanges that each play a part in decentralization, right? But it's still the one same asset. In fact, every country has their very own asset with their own banking system. Is that not decentralized? No, seriously. Ask yourself, is that not decentralized? If every country has their very own currency, okay, which uses their very own banking techniques, networks, whatever, okay, from their own competition and from the other countries, how is that not decentralized? And then when you look at certain aspects of crypto, all right, if Bitcoin were to become the world reserve asset that everyone is touting it to be, okay, well, if the entire world is using one singular asset to trade, what does that mean for decentralization? Seriously, I get it. The network is decentralized. But if the entire world is using it, it doesn't become decentralized anymore. In fact, it is more centralized than anything before it. And I'm a huge crypto guy, so don't get me wrong. Okay, I love cryptocurrency. I love everything it can do for us. I love the technology, the underlying technology, and even the NFT space. As much as people want to hate it, I love it. I got so many NFTs, it's retarded. Okay, I'm not here to really talk smack about it, but I'm serious when we talk about the decentralization aspect of it. How can we say it's decentralized if the whole goal of it is to get everyone on the world onto this fucking currency? When currently the entire world has its own currency, which would technically be more decentralized than any other asset. Anyways, That's why I thought I'd bring this whole thing up, the whole oil argument and everything. It all kind of ties into one another. I'll just leave it there.